Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Simon here with AvaTrade, and we are starting our weekly webinar, your weekly trading plan. And I want to welcome all of you back. And of course, for the new traders, new visitors, I want to welcome you for our webinar. And just 2 words what to expect. Basically, what we're doing here, we're making a plan for the week, which is pretty much what the title is saying. And the reason for it is very simple. It's been proven not just in trading, but in anything. If you really have a nice planning or good planning and structure, you have better chances to succeed. And as we know, when we go and trade without a plan and spontaneously or reactively trade, it doesn't bring such good results. Okay, so few words about me. This is my name, Simon Friedman. I'm the Senior Account Manager at AvaTrade. I'm involved with trading since June of 2000 when I started to trade in the first company that I worked for as a proprietary trader back in New York City. I was doing it for about 11 years. And then since 2011, I've been working with traders as a mentor, educator, and currently I'm working as an account manager with AvaTrade. The agenda is as usual. We'll be talking about indices, stocks, commodities, FX world, maybe in a different order, but we'll be covering pretty much these things. Just this is for your information. You can follow us at Twitter, Telegram, and of course the YouTube. And YouTube is a great source of information. It's being updated all the time. All the webinars and educational materials are being added daily to our channel. And before we go any further, important to take a look at the risk warning and just for you to understand that everything we speak about over here, it's not something that you should follow as a trading advice. And you can ask your account managers, or you can look at the full disclosure at our website. Okay, so big picture, that's what we're starting every webinar. What's the big picture? Unfortunately, again, like I said all the time, that I hope that one Sunday we'll just say the war is over, and I hope that's going to happen soon. As of now, the war is still going on. People are still dying. Everybody's being affected directly, indirectly. Market, of course, is being directed or affected directly, especially commodities. There's a lot of volatility in oil, natural gas. Equity markets are being affected as well. And another part of the big picture, of course, is the inflation, and the war is really adding to it as the prices of oil, natural gas, and other products went up as the war started. Also, food. We have agricultural prices went higher and so on. So it's still there. We had so far 2 interest rate increases. The first one was 0.25%. Second was 50. The last meeting, as we spoke about, they also shared with us that they will start unloading all the assets that they built with this QE process, and that's also not such a great thing for the markets. Now, let's take a look at the economic calendar for the week. And again, I like to remind you all the time, if you really want to be professional in your trading, professional, I mean really paying attention and doing the right things, that it's good to know that certain events are happening. And what I do here, I just take the high impact events. That's why you see all of them in red. But you can look at the economic calendars and choose what's relevant for your trading. That means what part of the world you involve, what currency you're trading, or what equity markets you trade, and look for those announcements and make sure you're on top of things. That helps. So Monday, we have retail sales from China. We have a monetary policy report from UK. Tuesday, we have a meeting of Bank of Australia. Then we have employment data from UK. We have GDP numbers from European Union. We have retail sales from US, very, very important. And then we have two big representatives of the central bank. We have the Lagarde speaking from ECB, and the Fed Chair Powell speech an hour later. Very important. That's all Tuesday. Very, very important day. We have GDP numbers from Japan. And as you know, it's important that we'll be talking about yen in a moment. And it's very important what's happening there. How will yen be affected? We have CPI, also very important number from UK. The inflation's there. It's really growing as well. We have CPI numbers from Canada, and that's on Wednesday. We have on Thursday employment data from Australia, and we have interest rate decision from China on Friday. So these are the things for the week. Again, I just chose the high impact events. You can take a look what's relevant for you. So with your permission, I'm going to switch now to MT4 terminal, and we'll be talking about markets. So let's start with stocks. There are really a few things that I want to talk about in stocks, and then we move to indices and commodities and Forex afterwards. So let's take a look at stocks. Few things. Twitter and Tesla saga is still going on. As you know, Elon Musk decided to buy Twitter, and based on his offer, the Twitter price, the price per share would be $54. And take a look. Immediately after the announcement, on the second day of the announcement, it hit a little bit even higher than 54. Then it was playing around. Market was really volatile, and then as you can see, it's been dropping below 50, and then we closed on 40.68. So you would be asking what's the story there, and I'll share with you if you didn't have a chance to look. Basically, it's on hold, and Musk decided to put it on hold, and he says that he needs to really check about all of those accounts to see if really the amount of fake accounts is below 5%. So I guess they're going to do investigation. Now, some analysts are saying that he's doing it purposely, trying to drop the price of his bid. I don't know. I didn't speak with him. I don't know if that's true, but these are the speculation. Of course, as you know, every analyst try to make or publish their own opinion. But what I do see here, that we've actually closed the gap. That was pre-announcement. The high was here 39.83, and on Friday we were at 39.99. You can say we closed. We were missing maybe 10-15 cents. So technically we closed the gap, and if the deal is still on, that for some investors or traders it could be an interesting opportunity, because you know that the initial bid was 54 per share. It's about $15 from where it is now. So that's Twitter Tesla deal. Now Tesla actually went up on that announcement, and of course Friday was a gap as the whole market moved higher, and Tesla moved with it. So that's as far as the stocks in the news. Now as far as earnings, last week we had earnings of Disney, and they didn't come with such a great news, and the projections for the upcoming quarter was not that great as well, and it's all to do, of course, with streaming. As we know, Netflix really lost a huge chunk of cash recently, but in the past few days, the past 2 days actually, Disney bounced since that drop. So we'll be watching what's next there. And Cisco is reporting on the 18th of May after the market. So the stock was, if you take a look here, we were at what, $64. That was the end of the year, the peak of the market, and then slowly we were sliding. There was a time of consolidation, a big channel over here, and then we dropped lower. And recently we hit these lows over here. There was a Thursday low about 47.43. Now I really don't know how the news. Nobody knows how the earnings are going to come. But so far, the tech stocks didn't really have a great story to tell. And I guess we'll see on the 18th what's happening here. And we might have a bounce if the news are not so bad, and of course it will be depending on what the market is generally doing. But if you do go higher here, so this level of uh, the support from which we made the whole run, there was November of 2021, and the level is just 51. So 51.05. So we could try to reach that level. It's not that far, and it's not a big move. So as far as the big players, okay, they all had the run. Now we can say it's great, it's bad, but I always say on when the market goes high, everything goes high with it. So if you take a look on the stocks, they recently lost a lot of equity. Uh, Google, Facebook, they all had a nice move to the upside. Apple had a nice move to the upside. Amazon bounced for the 2 consecutive days. Intel as well. So it's hard to say what's going to be next. And the big picture, uh, pretty much now we're going to move to indices. I'm done with the stocks because it's hard to say what's going to be in the stocks. It's general what the investors, which turn they're going to take. Are they going to switch to bears? Are they going to try to be bulls and buy this drop? We don't really know. And let's move to indices over here. So we'll start with plus 500. And just to let you know that Friday move, S&P's moved 2.4% to really kind of cover the weekly loss of 2.4. And still, it's been 6 weeks to the downside on all the indices. And Dow Jones rose 1.5% and is still down for the week, and it's a second straight week to the down. And Nasdaq was a champion. Of course, when the market was falling, it was a champion on the other side by dropping more than others. But now, on Friday, Nasdaq actually had a move of 3.88%, and it still closed the week with a drop of 2.8% for the week, and it's a 6-week drop. So let's go to the weekly chart just to see how it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks down for S&Ps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks down for Dow Jones, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks down for Nasdaq. It's a tremendous drop to the downside. Now let's take a look. Let's go back to S&Ps. As I always say, it's a more balanced indication what's happening in the market, and you can see that after closing, this is a weekly chart. After closing below the 50-week moving average, we hit the 100, and we're kind of holding here. Okay, if you go to daily chart, uh, after the spin on Thursday and recovery, Friday was a very nice move to the upside. So if you take a weekly chart, I think we are at the very key levels over here on the 100 moving average. Now, again, I don't want to pretend that I know what's going to happen. It's a big drop. It's a 6-week drop. Uh, some analysts says we're clearly about to face the recession, so the pressure to the downside is very strong. Now, will the brave traders step up and start buying this market? I guess we're going to be there to see if that happens. Dow Jones, the same idea. We are sitting on the 100 moving average over here, and also the previous support is holding. This is the drop that we had on the week of the 20th of February, and the low here was 32,165, and we're still holding this level. There was not a closing below it. So let's see if we are holding here or we're going to continue sliding. Besides the Friday, it was very heavy selling in the market. Even on Friday, I'm going to show you just in a moment. If you take a look on S&Ps, I was watching the market very closely, and this is the hourly chart. Well, let's just even use the 30-minute chart. There was a strong move higher, and it started from the evening of the 12th, and on 13th, we kept on moving higher, and higher, and there was a drop, and this drop was really showing that okay, there was a nice move higher, but then the moment the buyers dried up, it was 2 hours straight of selling, and then I guess they came right back, and we tried to regain the levels of the high of the day. We failed that. So as of now, the high of the day on S&Ps was 4,035 and 3/4. I'm going to mark this level. So for Monday, if we are looking to go higher, we would need to see a price action closing about 40, 36, like that's 4,035. Let's see if that happens. If the buyer is coming in, we should be establishing this support that so far after this drops is a resistance. Again, 4,035, 4,036. It could be a serious level that they're going to be fighting for. As you know, in general, when you trade, when the resistance is holding and it's not, we don't see any closing above it, that means the resistance is very strong, and eventually the sellers will come and take it lower. Now, for the instrument to break it, we'll need to see some closing actions above the level there was a resistance, and that would technically mean that it switched to being a support, and then the instrument would slowly or quickly move to the upside, depends on the market, and search for another resistance. Okay, that's S&Ps. For the other indices, the same thing. Now let's switch to European indices. And FTSE had very nice move after the sell-off and consolidation. It closed on the highs, and it's been very strong. The pullback was very small, and it looks like the strength coming to the index. DAX also, this is a daily moving average of 50. We're hitting it. We're trying to see if that resistance holds, and we did close below the about the previous support line. So we could be back into this channel where the buyers could be coming in, but for that we would need to see some closing above the 50 moving average. As of now, we're pretty much sitting on it to the point. So that's DAX. And let's take a look at the China. China, it's slowly recovering from the issues, especially the COVID. They managed to take some actions. There's some negative also news from China. One of the big developers just crashed. They couldn't pay the debt, so they're pretty much in default. And but the market's been really going higher for the 4 consecutive days. So we are to test eventually the 50 moving average if we continue to the upside. Until then, it's very hard to say anything. And Nikkei, the same thing, it hit the 50 moving average. So it looks like all the indices having a resistance at 50 moving average. And let's see how we deal with that and how this week will be playing out, what developments will happen in everything geopolitical as far as the war and the inflation. And we have 2 speeches from Christine Lagarde and Powell as well. So again, indices, just to summarize it, it's been a strong sell-off, and Friday is the first time since the beginning of this last drop from the 5th of May that we had a bounce to the upside, and it was a very strong bounce. Let's see what it is. Is it a temporary bounce, or is it a turnaround to go higher? That's important. Okay, so we went through stocks and equities. Let's move now to commodities, and we'll take a look at oil first. Oil, after hitting 100 moving average here, had a very strong move, 3-day move to the upside. Now, what's next on the horizon? The 110 psychological level that will be tested here. It's a little bit higher, I guess. Here was 111.15. So if we start closing about this level, we could be taking a journey to higher levels. If not, we'll be kind of channeling here between 100 and 111, so to speak. So oil was very strong, and natural gas Natural gas, take a look at this candle over here. This was on the 10th of May. It was a strong sell-off. It hit the 50 moving average and bounced very strongly. Not only came back at the opening price, but actually had a positive day. So it was a huge range. It was a dollar range. That's crazy. It's more than a dollar range between the high and the lows. Let's take a look. And you could see volatility. The day before also was a high range day, but it was a straight fall. So I guess the buyers came in. I'm just showing you a little bit of a psychology of the trading. So here we had a drop. So the sellers were in power. The next day, it opened pretty much where it closed and it went lower. So the sellers were happy, and then the buyers step in right before it hit the 50 moving average here. So the range was actually a dollar plus. The low was $6.43. The high was $7.45. So $1.02 move. Now, the moment it happened, the sellers really freaked out, and the buyers were happy to push it higher. Now, 3 days we moved higher. Friday was a negative day, but we still closed a little bit off the previous day opening price. So let's see what's next. It's all, of course, geopolitically driven. Let's see what happens with Europe buying, not buying natural gas, and so on. I guess we'll be seeing more news coming out. Copper. I spoke about copper for a few weeks, and if you take a look, Friday when the market bounced, the equity market bounced, and China recovered a little bit, copper did as well. And we'll see. Just want to bring this chart because I think I have more levels over here. You see, it went in stages. As it was falling from 477 from this level here, we had few attempts to break through it. We couldn't. Then we just sold out all the China issues and the market falling. We were just selling really, really hard. Then we tested again the level of support over here from the end of January. We played around it for a while, and then when we closed below it, the next leg to the downside took place. And then we came to retest. This drop was with a big pin, and that was December 15 of 2021. And we did close below it, but then the very next day on Friday, we actually crossed back to the upside and we closed much higher than this level. Now, this could mean that potentially we could have a reversal here to the upside. And again, we need some support from the equity markets and we need some support from China. And of course, a big developer going out of business is not really helping in this case. As we know, copper is being one of the major instruments or major commodities that are being used in construction business. So this is very important. We in the new channel here between 411 and 428, and we might go and retest this level before anything else. Again, that's granted that the market will be bouncing and China will be okay. So that's copper. Gold and silver. We'll start with silver. Silver was dropping very heavily, and then Friday it had a little bit of a sign of recovery. And again, for it to go higher, we probably need to break this level 2116. And of course, gold, highly traded among traders. It's been very tricky lately on the strong dollar. The strong dollar we'll be taking a look at in a moment when we start looking at Forex. On the strong dollar, the gold's been slowly sliding lower. So first we entered the 1950 channel here, and there was the middle of April 19th. We were holding 1950, and then on April 22nd, we closed below, and we kept on sliding till we found a next support around, and why I'm showing to the left, because the levels repeat themselves. So we came to around 1870, 1868. There was a big fight for this level. And then on the 9th of May, we broke through it. And since then, we're really sliding. Now, two scenarios. The most logical one, if the dollar, of course, continues higher, and we'll be taking a look at it in a moment, the higher I'm talking about to 105 and higher, that the gold could continue sliding, because this support is a very strong one. So far, there's not a strong support. We're in the air after the big down day. We tried to go higher, but we closed lower here. So we closed at 1811, 1812 almost, and we were actually briefly below 1800. 1799, that was the low before we bounced. So we were only at some point 11 points away from this support, which was very strongly played. 1, 2, 3, and with the third attempt, there was a move higher to test the highs. So that's one scenario. We can slide lower and retest this 1788, 1790 area. Or if we had a sharp correction to the downside on the dollar, we might see that the buyers could step in and not wait till we hit the desired level here, and they might step in and take it higher before that happens. So we'll be watching what happens. And that's it pretty much with commodities. And let's move to Forex, and we'll start with dollar. And as you can take a look, Friday we actually briefly hit 105, 105.04. And if you take a look at the monthly level, it's pretty much a super high. It's not all-time high, but this is a third retest of the highs, and we did close higher. So we might continue higher as you know, the Feds are still raising the interest rate, and it's going to be going for a while. So that's something that could be happening. Or as over here, we try to create a little bit of a correction, which bounce right back. So I think in the upcoming days and weeks are going to be crucial for a dollar. So on this correction on Friday, some major currencies actually had a nice move. Um, that's New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar actually closed higher than the previous day opening, so it's a very bullish sign here. We might continue higher to 0.7 possibly. So it's a mirror level. We couldn't break it to the downside. Now we're going to be testing it as a resistance since we're below it. Pound also closed higher than the previous day. It's an outside candle that might mean continuation to the upside. Euro is very weak, considering or comparing it with the Thursday drop. This was like 20% recovery just on the last day, so it's super weak. We closed at 104.06. So out of all the majors, Euro seems to be the weakest one, and there are talks. Some analysts say that we are on the way to parity. It could happen as well. And you have Swiss franc also got a little bit strength here, but not that much. Now let's move to yen. Very important here. And Thursday was a very important day. As you could see, this was the initial kind of a break that we took after this move higher. This was a break, and this was the second break that we took. That was on the 19th of April. And then we had a little bit of a consolidation, and we moved higher. And then we couldn't really close higher than this initial move. And Thursday we closed lower, which signaled that we are pretty much going to be fighting that level again. And the level is 129.38, 139.50. It's not you know, the specific number, but if you look at this candle here, the high was 129.40. So 129.40 is the level that could be a resistance for now. And again, that's what I mentioned to you in the beginning. When we have some numbers from Japan, it's important what yen is going to be doing next, because this was a super crazy move to the upside, and we had it looks like the profit taking took place over here, and now we could be moving to the downside here. Now, what are scenarios here? So this was the support in the last correction, and we are pretty much in the channel between 127 and 129.40, so 240 pips. And what's here? We could be playing here and then get ready for move higher or lower, or if we close higher, we might continue again. What depends what dollar is going to be doing and what Bank of Japan, they're going to take any measures to cool down the dollar here, or to raise the value of the yen. Usually they were doing historically the opposite, because the yen's been sitting at the weak, very weak levels here, and they were worried about it. And then when it hit about these levels, they were pretty much happy, but when higher, they start really alarming that it cost them a lot to buy stuff. So here again, logically, we could slide and retest the support over here, but it all depends what the dollar is going to be doing and what the Bank of Japan, if they're going to take any measures to intervene. So key levels 127 and 129.40. That's as far as yen. Now, let's take a look at a few exotic ones. USD ZAR, we spoke about it. On the strength of the dollar, we had a nice move, but it looks like we're hitting the top 1625. We couldn't break it. We couldn't break it here. We couldn't break it here. And after a long move to the upside, we're really failing to break it here. So there's a possibility that the sellers will come in and they're going to take it lower to some previous levels. And it could be anything. It could be 1570. It could be 1540. It could be all the way to 15 or 14 and a half. But as of now, what we can establish, we're not going to guess and predict things, but we established that 1625 level. It's been really, really strong, and they couldn't break it. So that's as far as the currency. And just a few more things. USDCAD on the strength of a dollar, it was moving higher, even ignoring the price of the oil. But take a look at the Friday move. It was a double impact. One, the dollar was weakening a little bit, and the price of oil reached 110. So there was a very strong day. They raised pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4 days to the upside. So it's very important as we sit exactly on the level here, 129. As I mentioned to you before, 129 for USD CAD, very, very important. So if we are holding this level, we might continue to the upside. If we see some closing below 129 and we see weakness in the dollar and continuation in the strength of the oil, why am I mentioning oil? For those that are not familiar, there's sometimes a strong correlation between Canadian dollar and the price of the oil, as Canada is one of the producers as well. So it's a big chunk of their export. So 129. If we're holding it again, we might move higher. If we start seeing some closing below it, we might go and retest the previous level of support around 127 and so on. So that's USD CAD. And as far as yen, and that's what I mentioned to you a few weeks back, that when the yen gets strength, it's very important to follow other currencies besides the dollar and take a look what happened. Aussie yen had very nice sliding to the downside, great opportunity to the short side. New Zealand dollar as well. The moment the yen started experiencing a little bit of a strength, the other currencies dropped strongly against it. Euro as well, Canadian dollar, not so much, but also was a nice drop to the downside, and pound has a very strong drop, and Swiss franc as well. So very important to pay attention to that. And let's take a look at Bitcoin. You probably heard a lot of cryptocurrencies lost a huge volume, huge chunk of money, and there were a few of them. Luna, I think, it just went to zero, almost zero, when it was pegged 1-to-1 with the dollar. That's a crazy story. So billions of dollars were lost on the drops. Now Bitcoin also had the drop that was on the 12th, and it hit almost 25,000, 25,390, and it bounced, and we're back to 29,000. But it's a lot of issues with cryptos, and as you could see, the traders or the investors are panicking right away to other things, and we bounce over here. Now, what's going to be next? I really don't know. I think the time will show. So that's as far as Bitcoin. And let's put things together So just to summarize what we spoke about today, we have a few announcements that we mentioned before. And again, I suggest that you look at economic calendar and kind of make your own analysis what really relevant to your trading. And we have war continuing, and we have in the upcoming week we have Powell and Lagarde speaking. Of course, it's all going to be related to inflation and the monetary policies. That's very, very important. We have GDP numbers coming up from Japan, and the yen is really at the crucial levels here. It's been super, super weak lately, and that's hitting Japan on the supply side. It's really great for them for the exports because they're making more. The company's making more profit, but on the other hand, they buy pretty much everything, and all the components that they buy and the commodities they buy cost them a lot more than it used to be. So that's something to pay attention to. And the dollar hit 105 was a very, very strong and quick move. So we might see some correction there. And if we do see correction, we might see the gold bounce as we hit 1800 on gold this week. We might see the bounces there. And I want to wish everyone a successful week. And of course, enjoy the weekend, whatever's left of it. And stay in focus, stay happy, stay healthy. And we'll be back next week. All the best.